Perfect. Hello, Melbourne! Now, if you've got a flag, hold it high. If you've got a poster, hold it higher. I'm going to take a video, but I want you screaming at the top of your voices so we can get this heard all around the world, around Palestine. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! Woo! Special thank you to our sister Asil for breaking our hearts and making us cry. So make sure after today, if you want to head to Victoria Market, 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, on Peel Street, String Bean Alley, she'll be singing and storytelling Victoria Market. Welcome, welcome everybody. Thank you so very much. We thought we wouldn't get a very big turnout, but you've really filled our hearts with joy coming out today. Welcome to today's commemoration of Nakba, the catastrophe. The commemoration of the loss of Palestine, but also the birth of our resistance. On behalf of all Palestinian, but particularly those living in Australia, we want to thank you all for being with us and standing for Palestine today. In particular, I want to thank our Indigenous communities who've stood with us throughout and to express our solidarity with your struggle in this country, in this colony. Because as Palestinians, we know what it's like to live as a refugee in your country, to be colonized, to be dispossessed, to be told you don't belong, and to be vilified for your resistance. This always was and always will be Aboriginal land. A Palestinian sister in Canada posted a poem, and I want to read it for our Indigenous brothers and sisters, and it's particular to Palestinians as well. We are not here to be considerate towards fragile whiteness. We are not here to choose our words wisely towards colonizer offspring who feel hurt by raid. We are not here to censor our ancestral pain to be accepted in the white mainstream. We are here to honour the suffering and sacrifice of our ancestors. We are here to prevail the long overdue call for justice. We are here to collectively heal from ancestral pain and trauma and put an end to the ongoing exploitation of our bodies and souls once and for all. We are here to make a change. This will be our legacy to the future generation. Led by the blood of our ancestral dedication, resilience and love that fiercely pumps through our veins. That's Dahlia Lena. I also want to thank our Jewish community who have broken ranks with theirs and stand in here in solidarity with us. My father was born before the Nakba, and he shared with my brothers and I stories of magical Palestine. The wonder and the beauty of Palestine before Zionism, before colonialism. In his stories, he would walk us through Jerusalem, the old city, the grand majesty of Aqsa, the church of the Holy Sepulchre, through the olives of his village, the sweet smell of oranges in Jaffa, the smell of freshly baked kak, za'atar, the garlic in the hummus, the bittersweet taste of freshly squeezed pomegranate, the smell of the sea and the fish in Akka, the vast green pastures of Jenin and around, the freshest of fresh air in the Galilee, the sweet, sweet taste of Nef Inability, the heat of the Jordan River, the saltiness of the Dead Sea, the taste of a fresh date from an oasis in a Nakba, the hospitality and warm, familial warmth of a neighbour's house as you pass by, the dialects of each village and how to differentiate them, the Palestinian traditional forms and how they represented each different region, but also the kinship of Palestinians, be they Muslim, Christian or Jew. For my dad grew up in a magical Palestine, where it didn't matter. On Monday, Abraham, Ibrahim and Abraham played marbles together. This is the father of our religions, Christian, Muslims and Jews. They played marbles together on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. On Friday, Ibrahim went to mosque. On Saturday, Abraham to temple. On Sunday, Abraham to church. On Monday, they played marbles again. Because it didn't matter. This was Palestine before colonialism, before Zionism. But then Zionism came to beautiful Palestine, and he told us of the tragedies before 1948, from the first Zionist attacks, terrorist attacks in bombing markets, booby trapping dead bodies to create more damage when people went to get their dead. The evil massacres of 48 to 50, the ethnic cleansing of Palestine from Tantura to Deir Yassin and so many others. We will never forget. Let it be clear, there is a difference between Judaism and Zionism. There is a huge difference. To be a Jew is to practice an ancient religion. To be a Zionist is to be a racist. To believe in a Jewish nation in a land of multiple cultures and religions at the expense, in supremacy of everyone else, is racist. That is Zionism. Justice is the key to peace, and justice begins with ending the colonial mindset that is Zionism. Only then will Jews, Christians and Muslims live as my father lived, free to live and worship, just free. Palestine can then return to that magical space in the 20s when my dad was born, and we can all enjoy it. This past week we witnessed the assassination of Palestinian reporter and hero Shireen Abu Akleh. This is what Israel does. This is exactly what Israeli soldiers do. We know that as Palestinians. Israel's murdered at least 50 journalists in the past 2 decades. 1 or 2 might be an accident. 50 is policy. Settler colonies don't need a reason to kill the native. This is what they do from here, in this settler colony, to Palestine. Be it Shireen, or Veronica Nelson, Tanya Day, David Dungay, be it Muhammad al-Dura or the Bakr cousins, Muhammad 9, Ahad and Zakaria 11, or Muhammad 11, who were bombed from an Israeli Navy ship as they played soccer on a Gazan beach. Unsurprisingly, Israel found themselves innocent and dismissed it as a tragic accident. Well, the coroner's court is hearing about Veronica Nelson's death in custody. Heartbreaking, unnecessary, tragic, another Indigenous death in custody in this colony. And I'm wondering whether he too will find the death to be another tragic accident. Because we know colonies stick together because they're made the same. Shame. And whether that's the sycophantic congratulations we saw last week from ScoMo and Elbow to the State of Israel talking about their shared values, we know they have shared values, and their shared value is the attempted annihilation of an indigenous people and to replace them with a Western settler colonial state. They haven't succeeded in Palestine and they won't succeed here. Today, as we come together, we need to commemorate, but we also need to celebrate. I say celebrate because in scenes not witnessed in Palestine since the Nakba, Palestine and Jerusalem came together as never before. Shireen was given a huge farewell in Jenin, then to Nablus, and then to the Al Jazeera office in Ramallah. In all those streets, the people filled them. Tens of thousands of people, you could not even move. The next day, the morgue was surrounded with a sea of people, off to the presidential compound for funeral prayers, then to Jerusalem. Along the way, every village, people just joined the march, the funeral procession. To Colombia, the refugee camp, they emptied Colombia and joined the procession. They tried to get through Colombia, but were met with tear gas. That's how Israel responded, with tear gas. But then Shireen went through to the Jerusalemites, took Shireen from Colombia through to St. Joseph's. And the next day, in scenes we've all seen, as Shireen in her casket was leaving St. Joseph's, we witnessed what we know about Israel, the brutality of Zionism and apartheid Israel, as police officers used a baton like a colonializer slashing a forest, making a way, endeavouring to break arms and legs. Shame. And with each swing and a buckled leg, Shireen's coffin got closer to the floor. But each time another Palestinian joined, and her coffin never fell. As Palestine will never fall. We held her high as Palestinians around the world hold our heads high. We will never be defeated. Following those scenes of depravity, Shireen was taken through Jerusalem to Bab al-Khalil, the Jaffa Gate. And for a moment, Palestine was liberated. It was filled with tens of thousands of Palestinians, not a Zionist, not an army person, not a police officer to be seen. Palestine was free. So we need to commemorate those lost in the struggle for justice. We need to commemorate those that have died and have been buried in strange lands away from their ancestors. Remember where we come from, but we also need to celebrate those that are still holding their keys and the trust and the deeds to their homes. Proud and strong, we need to celebrate the steadfastness, the resistance, and the retaking of Jerusalem. We know too well that the killing of Palestinians is not new. Israel's been doing it for decades. That's what colonizers do. Israel may have all of the technology, the weapon advantage, Western support, but they lack the most important ingredient: morality, dignity, determination, justice. That's what pumps through the hearts of every Palestinian. Today we honour the steadfastness of our brothers and sisters in Palestine. They remain unconquered but occupied, and they remain as a reminder to the powerful of this world. A reminder to all downtrodden people, to all colonised people, that there is a connection, an indestructible connection between an indigenous person and their lands, and it can never ever be broken. The Zionists have counted on the Palestinians forgetting. They've counted on us giving up, but they know we'll never give up. The Nakba was not just a single event. We know the Nakba is an ongoing event. It's happening today in a killing. It's happening today in a housing demolition. It's happening in an expulsion. The Nakba is an ongoing event, and Palestinians the world over need your support to resist this. We know that neither the United Nations, the United States, Australia, nor any of the powers are going to end the occupation in Palestine. We know that we have to do it ourselves. Next week, you get a chance to vote. Make yours count. Ask your candidates where they stand on Palestine. Let me tell you, Palestine's a fulcrum. It's a litmus test. If your candidate is good on Palestine, they're going to be good on practically everything else as well. Where's Sue? Sue Bolton's here from the Socialists. Come and say hello to her. Israel is the Achilles heel for Western propaganda, just like in South Africa as they were supporting F.W. de Klerk and the apartheidists. Western leaders with their empty rhetoric about clashes, and we condemn the killing without mentioning who the protagonist might be. We know that they are going to be exposed for their direct support of the apartheid state of Israel. Shame on them. Get your I support Palestine and I vote sticker, stick it on your car, stick it on your friend's car, stick it everywhere. Let everybody know that Palestine matters to you and Palestine matters. But there's more you can do. Support the boycott, divestment and sanctions campaign. When you're shopping, check the labels. Do not buy anything from SodaStream. If you go to your friend's house and you see something from SodaStream, tell them. Use this as a learning opportunity to teach them about colonialism, about what Israel's doing to Palestine. This is how the world ended apartheid in South Africa. So speak to your student unions, speak to your churches, speak to your own unions, speak to your work colleagues, talk to your friends. This is how we can end apartheid in Palestine. Friends, I believe we're winning. And I say that because I've gone through a journey myself where I had to explain that I wasn't from Pakistan, that I was from Palestine. People know who Palestine is, and increasingly people are realizing that we're on the right side of history and support for Palestine is the right thing to do. And they're winning, we're winning, that voice is getting out there, not because the media's on our side, not because the leaders are on our side, because we know they silence us. Whether they silence Bella Hadid on her Instagram, or they won't let us put an op-ed in an article, or we can't get onto a radio station or TV show, they're trying to silence us, but the truth will find its way. Thank you. And it's because of people like you that we've been able to keep Palestine alive. Through arts like I see of the singing and storytelling, through the demonstrations and public forums like this, and so many other ways. And there is no way to actively measure the success of activism, but we know we're winning. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it, do more of it, keep on doing it. Lovely. Thank you all for coming to today's rally. Thank you for making this a success. And one day Palestine will be free, and you will know that you did your bit. When the world forced us and told us to shut up, you stood up. When they tried to silence us, you shouted out. When they tried to belie us, belittle us and deny us our freedom, we stood tall, you stood tall. On that day, when Palestine is free, you will know you've done everything you need to. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Thank you.